Rabbit Hole Podcast, episode 5. Can you believe it? We haven't been yanked out of the algorithm yet.
Oh, mate.
The views are exploding.
We're still here.
We are still here, alive and popping.
Yeah.
Guys, before we begin, like, subscribe. Your support helps the channel, right? We can get new guests, because right now he's not on the payroll.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. So it's killing me. It's killing me.
And we're on Spotify as well, by the way.
We're on Spotify.
So
Come on, guys.
check us out
Get on
there.
Spotify. Get on Spotify.
Yeah.
We've got a jam-packed. We've got a lot of things to discuss.
Yeah.
A lot of them are time sensitive, so I don't know when we're going to get the edit out. So things might be not factually incorrect, but you know, the situations might evolve. Let's talk number one, the SVB bank collapse. Oh, you're going to love
It's
this
very
one.
recent. You told me about this.
This is very recent. So look, again, this podcast is being videoed on the 13th of March. So things, whenever this gets out, things could evolve and escalate. But SVB is Silicon Valley Bank.
Ah, yes.
So it's the premier
Yes.
bank in the US for venture capitalists and effectively startups, right?
Yeah.
It is the number one bank for that specific niche, right?
Yeah, it's
Collapsed. So how did it get to the collapse here? Well, I think there's a wider conversation, but let's run through the timeline just to establish things, right? SVB essentially made a bet in a couple of years ago. They put a lot of their funds and their bets to make revenue into government bank bonds,
Yeah.
effectively, right? So they got it at the low rate that it was at the time, and they didn't anticipate for the Fed to increase the interest rate as aggressively as it did, which
Yeah.
is happening not only in the US, but
Over
around
here
the
in
whole world.
Australia as well.
I mean, let's just talk about that. Were you shocked at the rate? I've lost track of the amount of interest rate rises we've got.
think it's
So we're videoing this in Australia. It's 9-10 at the moment.
It's the 10th.
10th, right? Insane. I left for Europe
yeah.
last year, and I told a client, because I work in the finance industry, that I'd be shocked if it increased any more. 4 months later, and you had consecutive increases.
Yeah, a lot of people are, I guess, having a refinance, and
Yeah.
if they can't refinance, they're defaulting on their loans, man. Like, it's not good.
It's crazy. So effectively, SVB, they put a big punt of 100 million specifically of the funds that they're getting from these VCs and these smaller, tech startups, effectively, thinking it's a sure bet. So look, you could say, hey, that's not financially prudent. I can't even get in there because it's way out of my spectrum to even make a level of commentary. But let's just park that to the side. So fast forward now. The valuation of these bonds are much less because of the rate that that's increased. So what happened is that now the valuation that they were expecting is significantly less.
Yeah.
So this compounding with the fact that the tech industry, because it's a Silicon Valley bank, it's not the bank of Joe Blow, are having tech layoffs for the reason of expenditure of cost. So things like, I mean, I don't know about your organization, but things like even like software subscriptions are under scrutiny. Like everything people are looking under a microscope. And for the smaller tier of these organizations, they're withdrawing. So the fundamental aspect of a bank is to know that your funds are safe, right?
Yeah.
That when you withdraw it at any time, you can get, if I put 100 mil, you better believe 100 mil needs to be there. So during this time, the clientele, which are the fintechs of the world, are withdrawing at a much quicker rate, compounded by the fact that the bank has losses and they physically at a certain point do not have the funds. Yeah. So in terms of the dates, Wednesday, 8th of March, the company reached a point effectively where the valuation of these bonds, they took a massive loss, right? So announced a sale of a third of their ownership to get the cash flow. All right, so that's the 8th. The 9th, word gets out that the company is facing insolvency. Bank run. So this is why I thought this was FTX, because it's like this is the parallel, right?
It is.
One's in the crypto, one's on this world. March the 10th, people are, of course, like once you hear the word insolvency, people are out. I'm out, because you got to understand, like, these are fintech businesses that are already hurting. They're downgrading profits. They're letting people go. So cash flow is vital, right?
So did they get their money back?
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So March 10th, people start withdrawing their money, and March 10th, the Fed comes in, you're out. This bank doesn't exist anymore. Bang. Wow. Bank run. They physically don't have the cash, right?
Shit.
So it on March 10th, it puts a lot of again, this is not in the same way FTX is the number one. Actually, sorry, my bad. FTX is a top 3. It's a big name, effectively. SVB is that echelon of bank for fintechs, for startups, for venture capitalists, right? It's not mom and pop's bank over there, right? So, for example, Canva has money with. So these are big established companies because you use. Even if you have a good cash flow situation, if you go to a bank, it's like an extended line of credit, right? And this is money that you anticipate to receive, right?
So do you think that like there'll be more layoffs or is there more cuts now? They've lost all this money that's
There's
gone.
so much things. So this is today. So again, this is an escalating situation. But today on March the 13th, the Fed has stepped in to bail these guys out. So yes, okay. So we can go in here again.
Ooh.
So this hasn't been seen on the likes of the most like the bailouts that we had last time. So this is huge. This is actually in line with those sort of elements, the Big Short, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Just in a different sphere of bank, right? So there's fundamentally questions to be asked here.
So, Big Short, was that like you're talking about the GFC?
Yeah. Yes.
Lehman Brothers.
So the GFC, because they got bailed out as well.
Yeah.
And people are saying that these guys are just too big not to be succeed, right? So there's a morality question here. But just to note, the FDIC, which is the insurance that American banks have for their consumers, means that bank deposits are actually covered up until the value of $250K, right?
Yeah.
So forget about, let's just park, sorry, I jumped the gun, but let's park the fact that the bailout happened today. So prior to that, you're right, people were concerned. Holy crap, I've got like my 3 months of employee super or everything there. My burn rate's there. I simply don't have it. What's going to happen here? And people are saying, don't worry about it. You got $250K up until insured by the law. And this is American law. So about that, this is not, again, Joe Blow's consumer bank.
No,
this is that. So of the institutions that banked with the SVB bank, only 3% of them have deposit sizes up until basically the vast majority are uncovered effectively. And so this is why the Fed stepped in and said, look, we got to help you guys out because there's going to be widespread ramifications depending on this if they don't step in. So
Man,
that's a mouthful.
A lot of these startups will just be finished.
Yeah. I think it just depends where you are at that curve. If you are at the more evolved curve, it is one element of cash flow. But if you're not, and it's 90% of your employee's salary comes from that or your cash flow there, you're wiped out. You're effectively wiped out. You don't exist. So that's a mouthful, but
so you're saying Canva would be somewhere late in the curve. They've already got there.
Yeah. So they're okay, but I just use that as an example to show
Canva's an Australian company.
It's an Australian company, but big companies also have, because it is the premier bank for VCs. Cryptocurrency, anything that's tech related, which is the spectrum that we're talking about, and the scene that already have cash flow problems to begin with, which is why you're getting these tech layoffs. It's insane. So the couple of things that like just stood out to me when I did a bit of research and started hearing about this. One is the parallels to FTX are just so close. Yeah. I mean, you have mismanagement at the highest level. You have bank runs. And the thing about...
So what was the cause of this again? Like, what was
the cause of this is when things were going good, and I'm, again, just not necessarily in the bandwidth of that space to really give a very articulate sort of synopsis, but they made a bet that was wrong. Yeah, but to basically to get it down a little bit easier than that, when you make investment bets, you don't go as a financially prudent institution. You have to make investment bets to get the thing right. Just kind of like what we're talking about AI and all that. But you don't bet the farm on it because you're doing that with other people's money.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So they bet close to the farm on something that went down. So financially prudent individuals that had robust processes would say, you can't bet. I'm making stuff up. 70% of your investment on this. It needs to be 20, 10, 15. Yeah. So this is what happened. Effectively, they went all in on a strategy that dumped in. So the flip side is if they went all in and it went up, There'd be, and this is what happened for a period of time when everything was going up, and now everything is tightening down. And there's a part of me that's empathetic because reading in between the tea leaves, a lot of organizations are seeing. I think what's happened is the period of economic growth that the world has seen has made people soft. I mean, I don't know how you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, they haven't gone through the hard.
They've relaxed.
Yeah.
Like, this is just an example. These are smart people here, right?
Yeah.
Whether they're corrupt is another thing, but these are really smart individuals. You can't be just a Joe Blow off the street. But they've clearly in an environment where there was certain points in the cryptocurrency boom or even the stock boom that you didn't even have to research. You just put money there and it would go up, right? So if that's happening there, that just shows over time, of course, you're going to be a bit blasé about, you know what, let's bet all of it.
Well, the bubble's burst, really.
Yes,
it's burst.
A degree of
it. Now's the reality of the situation that's sinking in, right? Is that everything's not just rosy and you just put money on something. And,
exactly.
It's not as easy as that.
Exactly. And the whole mental element about a bank run. So a bank run, fundamentally, the banks in each institution are held in their regard because we're saying, trust the banks.
Yeah.
We will always have it there. Don't keep your money under the bed or something. Like, we laugh. I know we laugh about that, but like the older folk would do that.
They would. I don't see a lot of people on TikTok, man.
I do not
trust anyone.
Exactly. And this is why. So that's why the insurances are built for these banks to ensure that people have that trust there. Yeah. But if you think about it, like, I'm speculating, and you got to speculate to get them clicks. But anyway, like if we go to our major institution banks and initiate a bank run, I'm really intrigued to see how many banks will have because.
What do you mean, the Aussie bank?
I'm saying any consumer bank. If we start a hashtag and say take it out. Seriously, bank runs are insane because banks are obligated by law. That's why they're only big four in Australia because they're prudent regulations. And I think Australia is better than that. Like I do believe that, you know, famous last words that we have the financial rigors there. Yeah. But I'd really be intrigued to see if they could handle that strain. And this is how it all works. It's a combination of information. And what happened is once the word got out that the company was facing insolvency, much like FTX. Let's just assume that was a lie, that people were just spreading hearsay, that people still took it out. But the fact is it wasn't a lie and they couldn't handle the level. I mean, this is a really bad example, but sites like Ticketek, you know when Bruno Mars is coming, there's going to be a line, right? Yeah. So why the hell is it still out of order? It makes no sense. Do you not think that they could solve for that?
It's all money, right? It's in that case.
I get, but
how much you spend?
Yeah, I guess what I guess what I'm saying is, in the same regard, you know, fundamentally, you need to have this amount of reserves. Yeah. Conceptually, you know that's the case. Yeah. It happening and you're reacting to it. This is one example of, you can see that the institutions that we have placed our trust in don't necessarily have it all kind of together.
No, they don't.
Which is actually
that's scary.
Scary.
That's scary.
That's scary. So the other thing is, fundamentally, when the Fed put out the statement here, they said that they were acting in the interest of the public, right?
Yeah.
And that it wouldn't affect the public. But the public are not fools. How else are they going to fund it? It's not like the Fed have, I don't know how much million we're talking about that they have to go to bail a bank out.
Well,
it's going to come in tax increases.
I guess this isn't as, like, I don't know if it is actually is as impactful as the GFC, the Lehman Brothers, Enron, all that crap. Yeah. Because that was very wide. They were giving out loans to people who couldn't afford them. But within the tech industry, it would be pretty massive, right? Because I mean, if a lot of startups are now, like, I mean, obviously they got bailed out, but at that time they thought their money was gone.
Of course.
That would really deter a lot of people from getting into that industry.
But you can see from the perspective of average Joe Blow, right?
Yeah.
That there's already distrust and discord for governments across the world. It's not anywhere here. The thing is, when you look at the RBA in Australia talking about rate rise increases, they only have one dial. to curb inflation.
Yeah.
It's not like they have two dials.
No.
It is one dial, right?
Stop spending money.
Yeah. Well, that's so their dial is to increase the interest rate.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's actually starting to affect me because I hate breakfast news, right? Because they just get the biggest sob stories. But like you hear that it's really affecting the average Joe Blow.
Yeah, I mean, we're just thinking about this, right? Like, if we're just talking here, interest rates in Australia. I mean, people got their bought houses at interest rates at like 0.25.
Yeah.
Like, to go from that to like 4 or 5, what it is right now,
yeah,
that's a lot of money.
It is.
That is akin to like maybe 1,200 a week.
It's almost double. Yeah. For a lot of cases, like people are not factoring for it, right? Like, yeah.
That's the type of money that would put you in foreclosure, and
of course,
if you don't refinance properly, and
well, it's not, you can't refinance properly. You don't have much of a choice.
Yeah,
the best of it is still going to be 3 to 4x more than you thought, right? So you're picking the best of a worst.
It's a scary situation. I mean, I've heard of different like theories about like, you know, JobKeeper being one of the reasons why we're in this mess that we're in right now, because that sort of gave this inflated figure of spending that, you know, the RBA used to justify those rates going up. But when we didn't actually spend as much as we did, and then now we're in this mess, and now everything's gone up, and now wages don't seem to be keeping up as well.
Oh, it can't. Well, if it does, then it's going to perpetuate inflation. But if you think of the average Joe Blow in America, you're right. Like the GFC was at a different scale, but it's very familiar to them. Again, we're getting to a presidency as well over there. Scared. Exactly. You think. I mean, the thing is, if just say you own a pizzeria in bloody Brooklyn, you're a Joe Blow that just is not in the finance thing, and then you think, oh, they're gonna fuck me more. Yeah. Well, they're gonna increase tax, right? Like that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna help them. Why should I help them? I'm struggling to keep my business afloat. Much less bail out why don't you bail me out? I'm gonna need bailing out in 2 weeks' time because I can't keep up with the rent.
That
is the mentality that's going to happen.
Starts, right? Like, why are these tech companies getting bailed out? Not me.
Exactly. So, and where does it end? And again, play both scenarios out. If you don't bail these guys out, and I have no doubt that there's a level of corruption, you scratch my back because a lot of these tech companies there's a lot of that stuff. There's a
lot of
there's a lot of
interest from the government,
exactly.
Tech industry. There's a lot.
But play it out there. If you don't bail them out, a lot of businesses don't exist, and these businesses have employees too, right? So the thing is, the decision made by one company or the leadership in one company.
I just don't think America can afford the tech industry to go into a crash.
No, I don't think so.
They can't afford it.
And I don't know if it's to that level, but again, the premier bank for this industry, and there's another bank actually that's dropped as well.
Yeah.
That they're going to prop up as well. And there's fears that this is just the beginning. And I think, again, people are triggered because they've seen versions of this. What's to say that this is not going to happen with the other organizations?
It's fascinating, right? Like, could the tech industry go into a crash from this?
We're in some level of, it's not a crash.
Not a crash, but it's declining, right?
It is. There's a contraction.
While all this is happening, there's like, AI seems to be like the next big thing.
Well,
but
look,
like,
I talked to a mate who's not in the tech industry. They haven't lost workers at all.
Oh, really?
They're hiring, if anything. So I guess what I'm saying is like, it's only in the sphere that you're in. Because let's zoom out, man. Do you really need Facebook? Like, let's can keep it real, right?
No.
Do I really need automated, like, to buy my groceries? No, you don't, bro. You don't. It's a luxury.
Yeah.
And when things get tough, you can afford to cut away the luxury.
Yeah.
It is a luxury. Let's be very blunt about it. Maybe there's certain tech fields that blur that sort of line. But for, like the big companies, Tesla's a luxury, man. Let's keep it real, yeah? Like a Tesla car is a luxury, yeah? At this stage, it's a luxury. It's not core. Not core at all. So of course they're going to go contractionary when inflation rises up. When the cost of a damn banana is like $6, all right? Like I can't deal with it. Now I moved on to bananas.
I love bananas, man.
Exactly. I mean, we were monkeys to begin with, all right? We need the damn bananas, all right? So yeah, it's a tough one. It's an evolving situation, and we'll see. We'll see, because I think you're going to have a lot of people that are not going to be happy, and then you're going to have a lot of relieved people, and more importantly, what happens if there's only 2 reported at the moment. 3 or 4 of these. How long can you bail it out?
Then there's
how long is a piece of string, right?
There's going to be some real, like some scares of a tech crash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, we cannot see that right now. With all that's going on, a tech industry crash would be devastating.
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. All right, let's move on, man. Let's talk about the Emmys. Let's talk about the Emmys.
Emmys, you mean the Oscars?
No, I'm talking about the Emmys, man. No, let's talk about the Oscars. Let's talk about the Oscars.
Oh, the Oscars. All right.
Give me a roundup. Give me a roundup, because this just happened today, right?
Okay, yeah. So basically, the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes, I watched it.
Clean sweep, 7 Oscars.
What do you think about the movie?
Oh, it was the movie of 2022.
Yeah.
Brilliant movie. Very well directed. Some great acting. A pretty interesting premise as well. And yeah, that was the big winner.
Yep.
Best actress Michelle Yeoh.
Yep.
Best director, best I think supporting actor in Jamie Lee Curtis. Yep. And yeah, it just really it's done really well, and it was one of the big winners there. And then we had Brendan Fraser's big comeback with The Whale.
I haven't watched that yet.
Best actor. That? Yeah, it was
good.
It's very heart wrenching.
Okay, so hold up. So, everything everywhere, and The Whale.
Yeah.
Emotional stories, right? At the heart, right?
Well, I mean, Everything Everywhere has
a lot of effects, but actually the element about it is actually the story, right? The main story at the end. Because to me, it wasn't until the end when things were culminating, the gist of the story about the mother and the daughter. That's the element, right?
Yeah.
I think we're going back to proper storytelling. We're seeing proper storytelling rewarded, right?
Well, this is what a lot of people online also thought that.
Top Gun won a couple of
Top Gun as well, a very good movie.
And it
got some nominations, but
yeah.
Everyone thought like there was this battle with what you said, like really good storytelling, or just the typical Oscar bait movie that comes out during this time.
Yeah, of course.
And a lot of the winners were the very good storytelling ones. And I mean, not that the Oscar bait ones don't have great storytelling. It's just that they looked like they were movies made for the Oscars.
Of course.
But
it's a lot of those awards are built like that, right? Like,
that's what the
formula.
Well, that's what the Academy's trying to change, right? They're trying to. I mean, they've made it pretty obvious that they are losing viewers.
Yeah, of course.
They're trying to get a younger audience, and a lot of these wins, if you look at the wins, a lot of it is it looks like an audience of young people that a younger audience would watch, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I mean the Oscars are pretty good, and I think Ki Hwan, the guy who was
the husband,
he got an Oscar as well for
support, right?
Yeah, best supporting actor, and it was so cool because Harrison Ford was there to present it to him.
Yeah.
And like in Indiana Jones, he was he was in there as well. As a kid.
The Southeast Asian contingent.
Oh mate, I can't wait to talk about this. Natu, man, we won. Best original song, Triple R, mate, RRR.
It's good to see again. Yeah, like arguably not as much star power in the conventional sense, but good to see good storytelling rewarded. And
I mean, that movie was incredible. I thought straight away when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is the movie of 2022."
Yeah,
like it came out in March last year as well. I think it must have been March or April. I was like, "Oh, this is easily the movie of 2020." I didn't see anything else beating this. And it was just a thrilling ride. Like it's just written well, and it's got a good emotional punch at the end.
Yeah,
and a very good premise. So I mean, it deserved those 7 Oscar wins. So.
I mean, it was multiverse and Matrixy, but yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, there was Multiverse of Madness that came out a month earlier.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying that this was a better multiverse movie than that Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it worked out in the end. It's won all the Oscars, so congratulations.
Yep. Emmys, man. The Emmys. All right, let's close that. Let's go to basically, the individual that this show was built upon, Kanye West,
Friend of the show.
friend of the show. You're gonna need some. We're gonna need a Kanye West Patreon. So yeah, let me read this, right? So Kanye West and Adidas have reportedly reached an agreement to sell the remaining 500 million in Yeezy sneaker inventory. So the inventory, right? So Adidas terminated its partnership with Kanye West in October 2022. Now, according to reports, the shoe giant and Ye have come to an agreement to sell all the remaining inventory. The remodel contract will reportedly focus solely on the sale of existing inventory, not include anything new, including the lifestyle stuff. The news comes on the heels of Adidas announcing that they expect to take a $1.3 billion hit as a result of as a result of Ye. The adjusted amount was worth more than initially projected. What do you think? What's your initial reaction?
Oh, well, he's killing it, man. As I said, he wanted initially to get out of this deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he, coincidentally, that was when he made all those controversial remarks.
Yeah.
But now he's out of the deal with some money to it as well.
Yeah, right.
They're selling his inventory as well, man. Like, that's because I didn't know that they were completely halting sales. Like, they kept his inventory.
Yeah, apparently they've got like 500 million in inventory. That's just a lot, right? So they've got his name tied to it. So have you heard of like Phantom Yeezys? Apparently, because they can't put his name. They don't want to put his name on it now, but because they've physically produced this in the black market, or they're selling it as like Phantom Yeezy. Yeah, like because they can't. Maybe they can't even call it Yeezys, but you know what it is, right? Yeah. When you've kind of seen it. So yeah, it's credit and interest. Like, okay, the thing that I find interesting is Adidas announcing that they expect to take 1.3 billion. How the hell did they calculate that? You reckon like is the difference between them making a profit and a loss?
Well, billions a lot.
Yeah, it's not small, right?
I don't know if Ye is worth $1 billion, but yeah. I mean,
his shoes. It's not him, but
his shoes. Yeah, I don't know. His shoes are worth. I haven't worn any Yeezys ever. I never really got the appeal. Yeah. But
people love them.
Well, people loved them. I don't know if they love them anymore. I mean, not anything to do with the controversial remarks. I just think that the style kind of went away.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think a lot of people stopped wearing that, and
it was a status symbol to begin with.
It was, to begin with, it was a status. Yeah. And to me, they didn't really appeal much because it looked kind of like horseshit. But like, I mean, it was what it was. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I mean, 500 mil. That's a lot. That's a lot of inventory, right? Basically a settlement, right? In a way. Because but then I also heard rumors that Ye was getting into another contract with another shoemaker.
No, he's trying to. He's still a sneaker free agent. Okay, hold up. Now, when you like dust has settled a bit, do you think Adidas did the right thing by distancing him, like cutting off Ye?
I mean, they had to at the time, right?
At the time, they did.
Companies were trying to. It was a PR nightmare to be associated with.
Yep.
But that's a lot of money you're talking. 1.3 billion.
Yeah.
Like, can they take these hits? I don't know.
I think
in this environment,
luxury. It's a luxury brand. It's a luxury. So I'm just intrigued. Like, if they still had him, would it'd still probably be a loss, right? But it'll just be less than. I don't know. I actually don't know. But again,
how do they get rid of these inventory? Right?
I don't know.
They get sell it to the pirated market and the black market.
Start a black market on Phantom Yeezys.
Go to Alibaba.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I mean, Yeezy's been doing his thing on the side. But like, is there a new album coming out?
I haven't heard much of anything of Ye.
Yeah, he's been on the down.
Ye in the news was that.
Because Ye got it. Missing.
Well, I heard they was trying to give him like some sort of court order, and he was missing. They couldn't find him. And that was the last thing. I mean, before that was he got married to the Kim lookalike.
Ye got it tight. Ye got it tight. We covered extensively in 60 seconds.
But
would you thought that if Kim were to go for revenge, don't you?
I mean, don't cheat, man. I wonder if he wears Yeezys.
Not anymore.
But yeah, I mean, it's good for him. 500 mil, man.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Another studio.
Okay. Do you think like when he gets back into shoemaking, because the thing with Ye is interesting, right? So he's loaded, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
You think, why can't he produce things independently? Like but he's always been of that mindset.
Well,
yeah, it's just difficult. Like,
yeah, he's difficult to understand because he's always going, oh, F the corporation.
Exactly, but he wants to be. But he complains that the corporations have the distribution access. Right? The thing is, like, they might be like a lick of like sanity in what he says, but because it's like plastered with so much bullshit, like I can't tell, right? Like,
it's like, why you want to buy that LV bag? You don't need to get that.
It's like, wait a second, I gotta get some Gucci.
Well, like, I mean, yeah, he's big enough. I mean, he's a billionaire. He's still a billionaire, right? That's what I've been told. He's financially still a billionaire, but like, you'd think that he'll be able to launch his own sort of line of distribution.
So if say, I don't know, fucking Gucci, like a designer brand of that stature take him, do you think he'll have another hit shoe? Does the Ye? Okay, so let's play a scenario. Let's say Nike take him in a controversial move. Nike say we'll take you in at like whatever. Forget about the money that they do, and he releases Dondas. I don't know, like just I don't know, right?
Dondas.
So he's not gonna call him Yeezys. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure they can't do that. So he calls them what he calls them.
Some political ramifications there with Drake and.
What do you mean? For Donda?
No, for Donda. for Nike, and because it was a whole Nike.
I'm just giving an example, man. Why are you taking this seriously?
No, because I think that could stop something like him going to a Nike, right?
Yeah, right.
Like,
okay.
There's already a big artist there.
Yeah. Converse, whatever. Like, let's just say he goes to someone. Puma are on the up. I reckon Puma are on the up.
I can see maybe it's something like a New Balance.
Yeah, New Balance. Okay, hold on. Actually, shoe. Who do you think is the top 3 brands that he would like sign with? So I agree. I think New Balance is on the up.
Nike. He would do. I don't think he would go with Nike. I think there's.
He wouldn't, or they wouldn't take him.
I think he would.
Why?
I just don't believe he would. I don't know. It's just
okay. We throw Nike away. So we agree on New Balance, right? Like they've been trying to sign. Okay, what else? I think Puma are on the up. What you got against Pumas, man?
I mean. I can only see New Balance. So I don't really.
New Balance are like dad's shoes, right?
Yeah, I know. That's.
God damn.
Yeah, you're gonna dance now.
yeah, he's a dad. Closed on Sunday.
But New Balance is the front runner. But man, I just kind of wish that he'd stop with all this crap and make music like he used to.
Yeah.
Like
I'm telling you,
I'm sick of him trying to go into your other areas. I'm like, we haven't had a great Ye album since Life of Pablo, man. Come on.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And that horse shit he put out after, that was terrible. Those 6-track albums.
Like I said, I like.
And,
that stuff was.
That was some terrible shit.
Is that even considered as an album?
No, I don't even know what that was.
It's a mixtape. Everything with Cudi.
It was an art project. I don't know what.
Exactly.
It wasn't a proper album. That's the thing. Like, we haven't got a proper Ye album for a while.
We'll see. But he needs to hit. All right. Yeah. Speaking of a guy that's apparently just hit. The Chris Rock special on Netflix. Man, let me get the first one out. I hated it. I tuned out mentally.
I haven't watched the whole thing.
That's the problem.
I watched the bits and pieces that I liked.
Okay. Before we get into that, can you name maybe in the last 6 months any Netflix specials for comedians that you've watched, like in its entirety?
No, it's actually. I haven't watched a lot in a while.
This is great prep.
I mean, Chappelle would be the only ones I'd watch.
What's the last one you've watched then?
It would be the Chappelle one. Yeah.
Chappelle's good, right?
Yeah.
Surely you watched the Hassan Minaj one, right?
No.
What the hell, dude? Get him out.
Sorry, man.
I can't afford that.
Sorry to rag on my brown. Dude. I don't like it, man. I don't like it.
You don't like Hassan?
I don't like Hassan Minaj.
Why not?
Because he's not funny. I don't find him funny at all.
What?
Yeah, I actually don't think he's a comedian. Like, no, seriously.
He's a storyteller, though. We agree.
He's a storyteller, but he's not a comedian, right? Like, that's
up on what? Wait a second. Okay. Are comedians not storytellers anyway?
No, they are. But like, I just think his storytelling is not funny. He's more,
but he's got punchlines.
No, but he's more a storyteller than he is a comedian.
Okay, does it matter if he's a comedian or not, though? Okay,
yeah, because I don't have to want to laugh. Stand up, man. I don't watch stand up to be told. Right. TED Talks, man, get out of here.
All right. Okay, but hold up. Chappelle's new stuff is all TED Talks, really. If you think about
but
it.
Like he's a genius.
Nah. So you got the cognitive bias. You've got a bias. You've got a bias.
He's legit funny in what he says.
Okay,
he says, he's the goat.
Come on. Okay. Why is he? Okay, you know what? That's another concept. Okay, let's talk about Chris Rock. Let's talk about the Will stuff, right? Because everyone wants to go to the Will.
Right? Like, I initially, and this is like 20 years ago, I didn't find Chris Rock funny first up, right?
I still don't find it that funny.
I'm actually finding him more funny lately maybe because of this Will Smith situation, but even a little bit before that, I was finding it a little bit more funny. But early on in his career, in the first 15 years, I didn't really find Chris Rock that funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I feel as he's gotten older, he's gotten a bit more funnier. But that's just my opinion.
That's your opinion. Okay, let's talk about the Will stuff. Will and Jada, like, what was your opinion on it?
I mean, the clapback was real. Like that was some good clapback from Chris.
What did he say exactly?
He was like, oh, he was basically saying Will got publicly,
Demasculated, right?
Emasculated in front of worldwide audience, in front of his wife who's asking him questions about the infidelity.
Yeah.
He goes, yet he wants to punch me. Everyone's making fun of him. Everyone's calling him a B.
Yeah.
But he wants to make fun of me.
Yeah.
Or he wants to punch me.
Yeah.
And it's like what? Like, why does he want to punch me? Like, everyone else is calling him a, can I say
little Mitch.
A Mitch, yeah. Yeah. But, it's just, I mean, that's the only part, really. I mean, there was another part as well, I think. I forgot what they were saying. But, that was the main part that draw the news, right? That draw the news.
Of course. I mean, everyone knew, he deliberately left it to the end.
Yeah. And a lot of people thought he was a bit aggressive towards Jada and Will. And there was reports that Will was very upset about it as well.
Yep.
What do you think? Is it too aggressive or?
So I watched it in its entirety, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we knew the whole premise was people wanted to a commentary on it. So he knew that and he kept it at the end to get people waiting. I think they're okay, to your point to comedians, stand-up comedy, it is storytelling, right? So but he was going down the Dave Chappelle route, right? Yeah. So to me, just to put it very blankly, there are two types of comedians. One is punchline, punchline, punchline. You set it up quickly and then you just get the euphoria, right? But he was evolving basically topics, and Dave does that very well. Yeah. But the pacing has to be right to be able to do that. Yeah. And I think it was quite crass, which is okay. The thing is, I don't watch a lot of Chris Rock stand-up, so I don't know if that's how he always has been. But I've heard people say he comes across as an angry old man. Yeah,
It felt more crass than usual.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and that could be because of what he's been through in the past 12 months, right? But a lot of people also felt, I don't know if you felt this as well, that the mic drop at the end wasn't really great. It was kind of
I know what you mean. It was.
He was I think the mic drop was
my mom taught me better.
My mom told me not to fight in front of white people.
Yeah, and that's
mic drop. That was a bit
No, it was. I didn't know if it ended, but the other thing was just the energy was weird because after that he was going like this. It was weird. I watched the whole thing. I don't know. You can't. I don't want to I don't want to be too overly harsh and critical.
This is Chris Rock, 20 years in the business now.
Yeah, of course. No, agree. But you know what? Then I went back and watched his older stuff. Yeah. That was funny. It was generally funny. Yeah. And I do think that comedians, they're artists, right? So they can evolve their structure. But his younger stuff was punchlines.
Well, that's where I did disagree, right? Because I found his younger stuff just to be a lot of, he was shouting a lot.
He was, yeah.
But I found his sort of transition into an older person, fascinating to me.
Yeah.
He's older now and he's he's getting punched by Will.
Yeah. No doubt
pissing off Jada.
No doubt that's helped him.
Yeah.
No doubt that's helped him. And he did this live, but I don't know. The thing is, because I was so disappointed for the content leading up to it, that when that Will stuff was delivered, it just felt like a deflation. I don't know.
It's already deflated by then.
Personally, yeah, because he had just lost. I was on the phone the whole time.
Yeah, he lost.
I couldn't get into it. Yeah. And to be honest, there are very few stand up, which is why I like the Hassan stuff, because I think in the pacing of it, you have to 40 minutes is a long time, right? Yeah. You can't get people laughing consistently. It's actually not possible. So you've got to get them at the right level of pacing and building up in the story to kind of get it. And either it's a connection of succinct stories or it's little chapters.
Well, that's where Chappelle was a master at.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He has these stories, but they all sort of link.
Yeah.
They all connect in a way.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Rock probably has that. right?
Well, my thing is, I don't think he was ever that guy. So then he's now hanging with Chappelle, and like I get
maybe this is his attempt.
No, it is like for a lot of guys, they all hang there. And again, like who am I to be like critical about it? But like it's just my view, and the view was shared with a lot of other people. But about the Will bit, he was very aggressive on it. But like from a human perspective, it's like I can't see why he wouldn't be anyway, right? The guy smashed you, like slapped you in public television.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't.
Stood there, took it, and just smiled. Really,
he took it professionally. Yeah. He delivered it out. He's having his time in the sun. Was it the most entertaining synopsis of it? Maybe not, but maybe. I mean, I'm sure people enjoyed it. There's some people that enjoyed it. A lot of people did. So I'm like, that just shows.
Or a lot of people just enjoying it because it's like, you know,
it's just the topic of the month. Exactly. But why are people hating Will, man? Like. He had a brain fart. Like he's dealing with.
Will's not a bad PR.
You reckon? Okay, so you've heard of his movie Emancipation, right?
Yeah.
So
that was a joke about that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like I watched it just to watch Will get whipped.
That was a good one. I gotta go, Chris.
That was funny. Chris. That was funny. That was funny. That was good. That was good.
But yeah, it's just
it's in poor taste, but it's good.
Will's just, I think, also. Ever since he got emasculated on live TV with his wife there, it just seems to have gone downhill for him.
What do you mean? But I don't get
PR-wise, gone downhill, right?
Oh, what though?
His image changed, and then that led in like he just looked different. Before that, he had this aura of like, man, that's the guy, man. That's the guy in Hollywood. That's our guy. Right. That's the Fresh Prince, and look what he's made of himself. He's like the guy. He's not the guy anymore.
He's older. A lot of guys evolve that. Like not a lot of people have the Chappelle arc where in his age he's getting a renaissance. To be honest, it's more the Will trajectory. The highs that Will was on, like movie after movie, like I'm sorry, but like you can't replicate that. So it's always gonna be a level of low. But I don't. The thing is, he's really leaned into this feelings and all that sort of stuff, which is good. I think it's actually pretty healthy, to be honest.
But the thing is, it's kind of making him look phony. I don't know if it's just the way it's presented. It might be. It might need to fire some of his PR people or whatever. But it just feels a bit phony, and this all seems to be emanating from Jada as well. There's a phoniness coming from her that's rubbing off on Will, and rubbing off on the kids. It's just like, that's not who Will was.
It's so funny because the things that he's talking about are deeply personal, right? And he's sharing it out, and it's some form of therapy for him. But you're right, like it's not something the average Joe Blow.
It's not coming off right.
To my thing, like stuff like that is effectively sharing your family dirty laundry. It can never come off right. It'll always like appear that, but it's a fascinating glimpse, and it's so hard because like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is still my number one TV show of all time. For a lot of people, here's
the fascinating thing with Hollywood, right? Like you always see these ups and downs. I think everyone wants to see this Will Smith come back.
Of course,
they want to see it.
But
I don't know if they're ready for it though.
What do you mean?
I just think it's not the right time. I think maybe he has to wait a couple of years. There's too much heat on him. There is a lot of heat on him at the moment. I think he needs to take some time off. Just take some time off, clear his head, really just go and like, I don't know, just get away from Jada. Sorry, man, I just don't like Jada. Sorry, I don't like anything she says.
Jada, man.
And I think he needs to get away from that energy.
Those guys are a package deal, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but like it just seems like there's a magnetism there that they just can't get away from each other. Anyway, Jon Jones returned to MMA last week.
Successful return.
He's a big boy now. He's a heavyweight. He's put on the kilos and he submitted Cyril Gane with a guillotine in 2-0. Like he didn't take it. So the return of Jon Jones is good. It's good to. It's always good when like the perennial like someone from the old school basically comes back, and Jon Jones was a different cat, man. Like when he went on his run, he wasn't as flamboyant as Conor McGregor, like verbally. But like I'll tell you a Jon Jones story, which like is well known. The day of the fight, when he was fighting for the title, when he was like a young pup, he was meditating in Central Park or something like that.
Yeah.
And this lady was getting robbed. Like, guy stole her purse, and he ran after the thief, tackled the guy down, submitted him on the day, and then knocked Shogun Rua out. For like, that's the sort of guy he was.
Wow.
He was like, stories were told of this guy, and he went through people like a buzzsaw. Like, generally,
he also went through a lot of that controversy.
He did. So he had the PED not allegations. He generally took PEDs. He DUI.
And that's
that's the
fame.
That's the whole
comes with fame.
It's just like the whole Hollywood thing, right?
Yeah.
Like this whole
Pressure.
lifestyle. We can make commentaries about it, but it takes its toll, right? And different people react very differently. And fighting is like, it's a really bad sport, man, for you. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the fight itself is intense. A lot of these people fight as a therapy for them. Like, they're not. It's not to say that they aren't, but you don't have exactly like, bachelor scholars or masters.
No.
The type of people that gravitate towards these are some of the best, most mentally tough people in the world. But it attracts a different sort of individual.
Even the most mentally tough person, like dealing with that, that fame that you get all of a sudden, overnight sometimes.
Of course. Yeah.
It's a lot. Like, all of a sudden your life isn't private anymore. Like you've got cameras everywhere.
Yep.
Think about it, right? Like, you walk outside, everyone's got a camera.
Yep.
You do anything wrong, like if you don't pay the cafe cashier, the right money, all of a sudden
I mean,
someone's got a camera on you.
I mean, we do that, and no one cares, right?
No one cares,
the worst thing that happens if someone comments like on our hairline, like on YouTube, right? Out there, you damn haters are hard to see you, bro. See you. But what I mean is that's just amplified 20-fold for a guy like that, right? Like, that's some guys saying it to their face, and when Jon Jones came, he really adopted the Christian moniker. Like, everything like was for their. And then, there's always a lot of fighters actually do that as well, especially the Brazilians and all that. So the faith is important to them. But then he did the PEDs, and then there the cocaine, and the strippers, and he hit his wife, and the DUI, and then
it was a long string.
There was a long string of stuff. So he's gone down, and he's come back, and now, everyone loves a comeback story. The fact of the matter is, everyone loves a comeback story. Yeah. There's a lot of support. It'll be interesting to see
what the future holds. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing, right? It doesn't fall back into any old.
He's on his last legs in the sense that if he goes back, he's out. Like, he's not going to be able to get back from it.
And you think this would be his last run?
This is his last run. I mean, he's the heavyweight champion.
How long do you reckon probably would fight for?
Well, heavyweights can last longer because they don't have to be overly athletic, overly mobile. And he is, honestly, he'd be overwhelming favorite against Stipe Miocic, who is going to fight next. And then who else? Like, generally, it's probably Cyril Gane again. Like, there's not a lot there. So he's picked a division where a lot of the, like, he can rule there for a while and cement his legacy. So look, that's Jon Jones. From the American sports teams to the Australian sports teams, the Dolphins. What the hell? They're on top of the NRL. I'm going to refresh this. That can't be right.
I shouldn't be laughing, actually. Yeah, it is a team coached by Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm over this Wayne Bennett luck. Everyone, like, worship this guy. Come on, man.
Oh, come on. So you say that.
I'm a Brisbane guy. I'm a Brisbane supporter.
How the hell you say that?
But hold up. Okay, so just to give context, this is the NRL, the National Rugby League Association. The Dolphins are a new team, right? So the thing that makes this remarkable is any new team in any sports, it's a known fact that it's written off. The first season is a write-off. Yeah. It's usually get bums on seats, get some level of a supporter base, and you're written off. But, I mean,
it takes years.
It takes years. I mean, like, bloody Gold Coast Titans have only just gotten semi-competitive. How long have they been? Yeah, the Rabbitohs got reinstated. I mean, the Rabbitohs were a legacy team to begin with, so you can't really count them. So they always had a base there. But
they've been some big teams.
Yeah. What the hell, man? Like, it's super impressive. And look, I'll give it to him. Bloody Bennett. I'm now actually going to look at this bloody documentary of bloody KO. See what I'll stand. Whatever, man. I don't care about fucking the Dolphins. So I want to see because they cut.
You got to see what's going on.
Cutting the grass on the Brisbane Broncos, who are also 2 from 2. But yeah, it's impressive. Like he's made, like, he hasn't got a bunch of scrubs there. He got like Kafusi. He got guys from the Storm.
But they're not like big name players, right? They're good players.
Look, they are. They're like 7.5 out of 10, which is good, like a good number. Like the hammer is good. They've taken some real studs from the Broncos next year. But yeah, they don't have basically Wayne Bennett struck out on massive names like Cameron Munster. He wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted to get block of cheese. Fuck, I'm so bad. Oh shit, I'm bad with names. But like he struck out on all of them. Yeah. So you're right. There's no big marquee name, but they're not starting with like absolute.
Well, that's kind of fascinating. It's like you don't need marquee names for a good team.
Well, that's the thing. Right? It's a team sport. The marquee names will win you though, right? Like that is the thing. And usually, again, the marquee name. If you like, let's just play it out. If you get a marquee name and like how many people are in a footy pitch? Like 12? I don't know. It's so bad.
I've also seen marquee names flop because.
But what I mean is, if you have a marquee name but you can't fill up your team, the marquee name is actually meant to get bombs on seats. Yeah, that's actually
more marketing.
Yeah, again, and the thing is, look, let's keep it real. It's 2 weeks in, right? Like at the end of the year, if they get in the top 8, that's the grand final for them. Generally, for the first year, because I'd be very surprised to see if we did like.
What if they win it? What are you gonna do?
They're not gonna win it, man. Don't give me that bullshit.
What if they beat the Broncos in the final?
I quit the game, man. I'll quit this podcast. I'll delete it. You can write it here. If they're not gonna get out of here, man.
Oh man, I'm going for the Dolphins now.
What sort of mascot's a dolphin anyway? Like this makes no sense. Like puts, man. Anyway, let's end it off on a real solemn topic. Oh. The Biebers, mate.
Oh man.
What have you got me discussing? What's happening?
Oh man, this whole fiasco with Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber and
it's a fiasco, is it?
Kendall Jenner.
Of course, it's not a fiasco without Kendall. Okay,
other lady.
What's happening? What's happening?
So I think this is some sort of long-standing feud. Obviously, Selena Gomez is Justin Bieber's ex. Justin Bieber's married to Hailey Bieber.
Sure.
For now, and obviously they wouldn't like each other, but
they can be cordial about it.
Yeah, it can be cordial. But
yeah, the same dude.
There was something where I think there was this picture of Selena Gomez, and she was a bit bigger than normal, like because I don't know, and they were fat shaming her. So
who's they? Sorry,
I believe it was Hailey Baldwin. I think said something. I'm gonna comment
on what, like Instagram or something.
Yeah, and then like I think this sort of continued a little bit, like little digs here and there.
Again, all on social media.
Yeah, all on social media,
so everyone can see it.
Yeah, and all like cryptic sort of digs.
Okay.
And then there was this one dig. I think it must have been on a reel or a TikTok. I think Selena Gomez accidentally shaved her eyebrows off or something like that, and she's very open about it. She's like, "Oh yeah, I accidentally shaved my eyebrows. What the hell?"
Yep.
And then I think Hailey, she was at like some sort of party or somewhere, and she was basically saying that, I think, I don't know what the full quote is, but something about like, her deserving it, and all that sort of stuff, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Like, it felt a lot of people like, well, because Kendall Jenner was in that same video, and some other girl, I don't know her name.
Yep.
But and they were saying this is kind of like Mean Girls. They're like, the way they're taking digs at Selena as being fat shamed. Her eyebrows were taken off, and they were making sort of remarks about it. And they were basically saying like, and they found there was a TikTok sort of like thing where they went down the rabbit hole.
Yep.
on it, and they literally found all these instances of like where they were shading Selena.
Yeah,
and Selena has come out looking like the nice person out in this, and that's been bullied by these two people.
What is J Beeb saying? He's sticking out of it, man. He's sticking out of it. He knows. You don't mess with that shit.
But then what the fascinating part was, Hailey Baldwin and Kendall Jenner lost so many followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think it was in the millions, while Selena gained a lot, and in that became the most followed person on Instagram.
What, now?
Yeah. And like, it's just crazy, like how it's all shifted this image of, Justin Bieber's wife, and they found a lot of stuff like, when she was apparently stalking Justin Bieber before, they started going out, it's just like people have made this love story about Selena and Justin. Like the lyrics in their songs kind of say that they want to be together.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of fascinating. Like this is like a beef. Like look at rap beefs, That's all we know. But like this is like the white version of it, like of like they're having beef right now, So
what's the world coming to, man? Like seriously. But I think like in this current environment, people are reacting a lot more to like cyberbullying and all those elements there. It's just
I mean it was pretty like. Even though they're doing cryptic remarks, like this is.
I mean, people are not idiots. They know what's happening.
They know what's
right?
up. Right?
It's just it's a poor look. I don't know why. I mean, like, how old is Hailey Bolton? How old is Hailey Bieber?
I think they're all these people will be in their 30s now, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least in their late 20s, because. I mean, it's. And like Selena Gomez is trying to just brush it off.
26, man. Like 26. At 26, like, oh god, I don't even know what I was doing at 26.
Yeah, they should be grown up by that point. But
should not.
I know a lot of 30-year-olds that aren't grown up by that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we've had this conversation with the Jon Jones thing. Like, fame gets to the head. If you're in like a clique. Human beings are just such social animals. If you're in a mean girl clique or whatever you want to call it, or in a clique doing that, and you get incentivized to do it. That's why it's so hard to socially do things that are against.
Well, here's the interesting thing, right? Is that like these individuals are all brands within themselves, right?
Of course,
they're all companies, they're all brands. They represent a lot of things. Like, why not? They don't have a proper PR person saying?
Well, they do.
They go against them anyway.
They do exactly. That's the thing, because the power is all with them, right? They hire and fire him, and in the end of the day, the creative control is there. But like, you think Hailey Bieber's looking at her Instagram like, I lost a couple of mil? Maybe she is. Maybe she is.
Well, the Jenner lady, she's gonna be pissed that she's not the most followed person on Instagram, and Selena is. Now that would hurt. Like, that would if they're going back and forth in this beef, like to all of a sudden be taken over by Selena is it's big.
Why can't we all be friends, man? I think they just need to meet up. They need to meet up at Macca's.
Macca's,
have a Big Mac and just
hash it out. Meet up at Krispy Kreme.
That's it, man. But honestly, I'm looking at some of the numbers, and I'm sure this is out of date. But number one is Instagram, like the actual Instagram account, which makes sense. Do you even follow this? No, I don't. Anyway.
Well, she's the most followed person now. So.
No. I mean the Instagram. So the top Instagram accounts, right?
Yeah.
This is Lifestyle Asia, by the way. So this must be out of date. But number 2, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
551 mil. Messi, 432 mil. Gomez. So this is probably out of date. 382 mil.
So a lot of this. She gained a lot of followers because
the
way she's being portrayed is that
of course The Rock. It's just actors, right? Like actors and musicians. It's not even musicians. Beyonce is at the bottom end of that 295. God, like surely they.
You know what's fascinating actually? Joe Rogan was actually looking up because I think someone had told him about cricket, like India versus Pakistan. And then like he was told about Virat Kohli.
Oh, yes.
And then they're comparing it to LeBron.
Yep.
He's like, oh, you have to look up this guy. Because Joe Rogan didn't think that cricket's that big, right?
Yeah.
He goes, and then like they're talking about how like 225 million people watch, this India versus Pakistan game. And they're like, oh, really? He was looking up like Virat Kohli and how much followers he has.
It would blow his mind.
It's crazy.
Mate, it's a big world. Thank you. Thank you for being the OG guest, mate. And guys, again, like and subscribe. Leave some comments. What did you think about some of the topics? If we have other things that you want to discuss, let us know. And we hope to see you next week. Peace.